Hello there, and welcome back to The Cosmic Mystic, where we dive in to tarot, esoteric, spirituality, and your soul in order to improve ourselves and have a fulfilling life. Not to be weird. All right, so I'm Callie. Thank you for coming back. Today we are going to be talking about spiritual bypassing. Now, spiritual bypassing has been being floated around. It's not a new topic. It's an older topic. However, it's coming back up again, and I see a lot of posts online about, oh, so and so is spiritually bypassing. So and so isn't really like as spiritual as they say they are because uh they won't be angry, or they might not acknowledge my feelings. So we're just going to talk about spiritual bypassing and thoughts, yay or nay. I mean, personally, I see spiritual bypassing. I experience spiritual bypassing. Like, as saintly as I appear, guys, I am not perfect. All right. So, of course, I spiritually bypass at times, and that's okay. So, we're just really going to dive deep into this and really work through it together and be mindful, be present, be with our feelings, with compassion and grace, with other people with compassion and grace, and know that, like, this is just life. Okay, this is just life. We Guys, we don't have to take this too seriously. Okay, so if you would like to book a reading, head on over to thecosmichaven.com and book a reading, book a massage, book a healing session, and I would be delighted to see you. All right, so now let's get into it. Spiritual bypassing is a coin turned by, hold on, I forgot his name. John Wellwood. So John Wellwood came up with the term spiritual bypassing. And although I have not read his books, I've read articles. So, like, guys, I was going to buy his book, but then I went and bought like 5 Paulo Coehlo books because that's my favorite author. So I bypassed buying a book about spiritual bypassing in order to satisfy my cravings. Okay. And that's just the way it is. I have read articles and looked into it. And basically, spiritual bypassing is bearing trauma, bearing trauma, not expressing yourself, bearing emotions, avoiding having to face conflict, avoiding having to face yourself. Like, goodness gracious, guys, you live with you. You are stuck with you for the rest of your life. How dare you not face yourself? But, like, also sometimes it's hard to face ourselves. So we're gonna be okay with sometimes, like, not wanting to face ourselves. So basically, it is avoiding the issue in favor of love and light. So love and light, grace, compassion, saying, "Oh, I forgive you. Oh, I'm also spiritual. Everything is good. Everything is great. I'm happy. I'm always happy." And disregarding the fact that you might not be very happy inside. All right. So, for example, it can be somebody who's stuck at a lame job and they know they got to leave, but they're like, "Oh, we're so happy. We forgive, like, the fact that my boss makes me do all the extra work and does not give me a raise. Love and light, it's my duty as a service for others." So it can be kind of like that, or it can be having the opportunity to face deep emotions and choosing not to. So, say you get angry in a moment, instead of expressing that anger, you might bury it. And I know I personally do this. Like, I do it. And it's not necessarily like bearing the anger. I go and think about it. Okay. I am a thinker. When I feel an emotion, I am like, dang, what is this? Like, there's a disturbance in the force, guys. And so I look at that and I go analyze it until I'm done analyzing it. And then once I'm done analyzing it, then I might go to a person and be like, "Oh, hey, like, what the heck?" But first, I analyze this stuff because that's just how I roll. Like, I remember this one time I went to go get a shamanic cord clearing done, and the service was supposed to be an hour long. That's how it was advertised. The person did 20 minutes of work. And granted, I felt a cord clear. Okay, I felt a cord clear. However, I was like, 20 minutes? Uh, what do you mean? I pay $80 for 20 minutes when you promised an hour. So, like, I was a bit verklempt. And so I just walk outside and I'm like, dang, she really just did that. So I thought about it for a second. I'm like, no, we're gonna talk about this. So then I went back and talked to her and ended up getting, like, I paid her for the 20 minutes. However, I told her, I'm like, that's false advertisement. Please don't do that. And so, but like, sometimes I'm just so like, what the heck just happened, that I have to pull back and then I move forward. And that's just me. So sometimes people are like that. Sometimes people bury things for 10, 20, 30 years. And you might see people who like are stuck in high school, for example, and stuck in the glory days, stuck reminiscing on those instead of living their fullest life. So why are they still stuck in the glory days and uh, coming from a small town, drinking themselves to death and reminiscing on their football career that happened 20, 40 years ago rather than focusing on those kids they had. Okay. So, really, that can be a form of bypassing the issue. There might be a bigger issue as to why you're still stuck in high school. Okay. So, this spiritual bypassing can unfortunately lead to a lot of issues, not only with yourself, because you're lying to yourself or you're avoiding yourself, but also with people around you. So it can lead to gaslighting, it can lead to things like emotional, possibly verbal abuse, but mostly like gaslighting. Because say somebody comes up to you and says, oh, hey, I'm mad because uh, this, and this happened between us. And you're like, well, I'm not mad. I'm all love and light. I am a saint. I would never mean anything. I'm very precise with the words I say. I mean exactly as I say, and those aren't the way it was supposed to be interpreted. And how dare you try to question my love and lightness? Look at these angelic wings that I got from Dollar Tree. Okay? So it can lead to gaslighting, which can lead to a lot of shame, a lot of anger and frustration, and it can close people's voice off. It can close people's throat chakra off. And if you don't know about the chakra system, we will get into it in future videos, but it can make people feel ashamed, feel guilty, feel like they were wrong for trying to express how they feel, and really bury that deep below them. So we don't like, while it happens, we don't necessarily want it to keep happening, especially to the detriment of those around us and ourselves, because we love us. Okay. So, what happens when you do spiritually bypass? Because, you know, sometimes that's inevitable. So, when you spiritually bypass, you it's just a practice to be aware, honestly, to be mindful and be like, am I just trying to avoid an issue? Or is it really something I just don't really care? Like, I'm just going to leave it at that. So, really looking and seeing, like, is it an issue that my body needs to confront? So, when I feel that, it's something that my body needs to say. Like, I will feel it in my heart and in my throat space, and it'll feel like, ooh, if I do not say this, if I do not say this, I'm going to be burying it. And also, it is like for me, and I'm more of a direct person. So for me, it kind of feels like there will be a volcanic explosion if I do not say what I need to say. Okay. So, like, it really feels like there will be an explosion inside me. However, it's going to be different for other people. So, like, say you're more docile, which is great. Like, yes, shout out to all the docile people. More soft, not as forward as me, let's just say. You might feel it as a whisper, like, ooh, that just didn't feel good. Like, what do I do? And it might be like a little murmur, like, you need to face this. You need to say something. You need to, move forward. And so really paying attention to your body, paying attention to your own intuitive guidance. Like, it's gotten to the point where I know what I need to say. And then on contrast, I most of the time I know what I need to say. Okay, not always. And then on contrast, I know when I'm being guided to be like, I don't have to get into this conversation. Like Facebook comments. Like sometimes I really just read through Facebook and Instagram, and observe things and think things and have opinions, but I'm just like, I'm not going to comment on Facebook stuff. I'm not going to comment on Instagram stuff. If I really want to do comment on it, I might like post a video. But I'm not going, and we can have a discussion on this. Like we can comment on this all day, but I'm not going to go and comment on people's stuff very often. Um, just because, like, guys, social media is like a deep, deep rabbit hole that you can never get out of, and people are crazy on there. And I'm not going to deal with crazy. Okay, I already deal with enough crazies, mostly my cats, but like, okay, that's a lot. And so it's really important to pay attention to your body, pay attention to the messages you might be receiving, which is why meditation is such a good skill because you can become aware of your body, you can become aware of your being, you can become aware of your thought processes, and then being able to move forward. So it is always about this balance. It is always about this dark and light, going within and then moving outward. Um, Embracing both aspects of yourself, like anger is a sign that you don't feel like, for me it's a sign that I don't feel safe. It's a sign that I feel like I need to be protected and set boundaries. That's how it is for me, and I acknowledge it and I embrace it. And then sadness, it's like, okay, somebody hurt me. So underneath usually when I'm processing things, it'll be like, ooh, I'm pissed. I am pissed. So like when end of September through October, like let's just say September 27th, because that's when Goddess Cardi B dropped her album, Am I the Drama? And then I was just like, dang, I gotta set some boundaries. I gotta cut some people out of my life. And this was a time where it was like people were doing too much with my energy field. People were doing too much with my money. People were doing too much with my life. And so I was like, I'm pissed. So I just listened to Cardi B and cut people out of my life for a full month. And I had fun with it. I, and I went and I was angry, but like that anger was kind of fun. Anger is kind of fun. And there were days where I would just cry. So I would listen to What's Going On featuring Lizzo because, like, what's going on? But then it would be like, okay, this cry is also very releasing. And I don't mind crying and I don't mind processing these emotions. I kind of like it actually. And then it was like, oh, okay, now I can move on into November was more of the grief stage and being sad over like having to cut these people in my life because they was being messy. And so I went through that grief process. And some days it's like, okay, I'm not gonna lie, maybe I'm still processing it, and that's totally okay. That's totally okay. Other days it's like, oh, I'm fine. I am so fine. But really being able to be patient with yourself and know that it is a process and that you don't have to get it all done in one day. While we like getting things done in one day, we might not always want to get it done in one day. Um, because sometimes rushing things leaves a lot of, like, if you're clearing energy cords, it might leave some cords in there that you did not realize before. All right. So, really being patient with yourself, taking your time, allowing yourself to feel the feels, and then you come back on top and you become stronger too. So, by facing these things, you become energetically stronger. Like, this is my number one way of increasing my intuition. This is my number one way of increasing my healing capabilities is by releasing and processing and being in the present moment and being honest with who I am in the moment. Okay. My intuition shuts down. I get overthinking. I get flighty if I start bypassing. And I know when I'm bypassing because I just start scrolling through social media. I just start scrolling through social media or eating because I love food. So I know what I'm bypassing and I'm like, okay. And if you're aware, you're like, oh, I'm trying to avoid this stuff. Sometimes it helps to set a timer. So it's like, okay, I'm just not going to think about this stuff for like an hour. And then I'm going to get back to it. Okay. But for this hour, I'm going to do all the scrolling. I'm going to eat all the popcorn and drink all the apple cider that I could ever imagine until my tummy's full. And then I will get to it. Okay. So really be kind, be patient with yourself. And if you find yourself spiritually bypassing, like, guys, it happens. Okay. It definitely happens. We just got to be patient with ourselves. We got to do the best we can in this moment. Sometimes things are just really hard and really heavy to face. And some things it's like, ooh, wow. especially people who might have had like complex trauma in their lives. And then if you do, like, highly suggest get a therapist. Highly suggest getting a therapist and somebody to help you and process those things, because like processing stuff is a lot. You're strong and you're amazing to do it. And even if you realize like, okay, I might, or judging yourself like, oh, I'm not doing as good as I should be, know that you're doing the best you can at this time, and really being patient and kind with yourself and acknowledging where you are in this moment. Like maybe you aren't ready to look at that stuff, and that's okay. It's when there is a conscious, more, or like a severe denial to the detriment of others, to the gaslighting of others, to denying people their feelings. That's when it becomes a problem. So if you're starting to harm others, starting to gaslight others, then it's like, okay, well, I really got to just sit with this. But if it's like, okay, you know what? I'm here at home on the couch. I don't want to feel with this stuff right now. Give yourself an hour, give yourself time, but also check out resources in your local area to take care of yourself, okay? So, like, spiritual bypassing definitely happens. It can be annoying, but at the end of the day, I can only do what I can do. I can't force another person to work through their stuff. So, who am I to yell at people? Unless I need to, unless they're messing with me, then I'll yell at them. Okay. But who am I to judge people for like not doing the work? Because like there are days where I just don't do the work. Okay. So totally chill, totally fine. Yeah. I'm just here living my best life, guys. Like, I just want to have fun. If I want to attack somebody, mm, I should probably work on myself and see why they are triggering me so much, and then see if I need to move forward, because that's the most healthy way to do it. Okay. So be where you are, accept where you are, process things, or take time to not process things and give yourself a break. All right. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for watching. Again, if you like what you see, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share with friends, ring the bell for notifications, and take care.